Hey y'all, it's your girl Name back with another video for Johnny Speaks. Today is a really difficult video for me, but I think it is well needed and something that needs to be talked about. So the video today is going to be about my journey with PCOS, and which is polycystic ovarian syndrome, if you don't know what that is, and also my battle with iron deficiency, which means that my hemoglobin level is a really low. It's like a 4 or 6, and it should be an average of like a 13.5 to like a 15, which is pretty low. So if you don't know what PCOS is, it is a hormonal disorder that causes enlarged ovaries, which have smaller cysts on the outer edges of like your uterus. I know, TMI. But yeah, it puts like smaller cysts on the outside of like your uterus, and it causes a hormonal disorder. And basically, doctors find out by like if you have irregular periods, just things like that, and then they do like an ultrasound on your uterus to see those cysts that are there. Now they do have different effects on people depending on your situation. Mine has different effects than what I've normally heard, which has caused me to have other health problems like iron deficiency. So that's why I think it's really important to talk about. So how did I find out that I had PCOS? Okay, so basically I was having irregular menstrual cycles. So my menstruals were lasting for about 3 months at a time. Then I wouldn't get it for another 3 months, or I would get it for a month and then not get it for another 5 months. So it was just like really irregular. So I was like, having my menstrual cycle for so long, and I just didn't understand why, and it was like really, really heavy. And a lot of the time when you tell, your family that you're struggling with this or this is happening, the first thing that goes to everybody's mind is like, oh, you're being grown, you're doing adult things that you shouldn't be doing, which wasn't the case. So I never really got help for it because I just didn't want to be judged by anybody until I got older, when I was 18. I was actually 19 years old when I found out. So just recently in March is when I found out, because I went to my OBGYN for the first time. I was so scared, just so that I could figure out what was going on. I was telling her what was going on with me, and then that's when she referred me to somewhere to go get an ultrasound. I got an ultrasound done. She saw my hormone levels, and then she realized that that's what it was, and that what was causing the irregular periods, the heavy bleeding, the cramps, all of that. So once I found out that I had PCOS, it was really difficult for me because I felt like I wasn't getting the medical attention and the medical help that I needed, because everyone knows that Black women are disproportionately affected by health issues when they're in the medical field, period. So when I was explaining to her what was going on, she was like, well, the fix to this that we normally give is birth control. But because you're overweight, basically because I'm fat is what she was saying, that she didn't want to give it to me because it would cause me to gain a couple of pounds. And I'm just like, well, sis, like, would you rather me gain a couple more pounds or be, losing all of this blood for months? Like, it was just insane to me that they prioritized appearances and my weight over actually helping the problem, because PCOS was going to have long-term effects. And I just didn't understand why they would do something like that to me. So eventually she just put me on Informant, and she put me on Informant, I think that's the name of it, and she put me something else with an M. She put me on that pill in order to stop my menstrual cycle, because at that time I had my menstrual cycle for up to 4 months. So it was a 10-day pill that I had to take to stop my menstrual cycle, and then I had to go on the Informant then to help regulate my period, and it was supposed to help me lose weight, so that way I can get on the pill. However, if you have PCOS, losing weight is a difficult thing to do, because it just makes it harder for you to lose weight. Your hormones are all over the place, so it made it difficult for that. So I ended up never losing the weight, and I just didn't like the doctor. Like, she just wasn't helping me at all. So yeah. And like, my biggest thing is just like, know your body, because when I first got diagnosed with PCOS, I kept telling her like, hey, I'm having these headaches, I'm not feeling good, I'm weak, like I be craving ice all the time, and she just didn't want to help me figure out what the problem was or whatever, and she just said that it had nothing to do with PCOS, but that's another story for another day. So I ended up going back to school, and I was still going back to college, and as you know, my insurance is in my hometown, but not where I go, the state that I go to college in. So when I got back, I wasn't receiving medical attention for the needs that I had previously accrued while I was back home during quarantine. So I pretty much had to deal with it. So fast forward to Christmas, I go back home, and I'm like, hey, like, my menstrual is still happening, like it's something is still not right with me, or whatever the case may be. So finally she was like, well, do you want to go on birth control? And I was just like, all right, like, okay, I'm down, I'm with it or whatever. So she put, first of all, let's back up. Okay, so remember the informant that I told you I was on, right? The side effects of the informant were so bad. Like, I was having cramps out the behind. Like, they were so bad. Like, I felt like I was having a baby. Like, and I called her like, hey, I'm having these really, really bad cramps. Like, is this supposed to be for the medicine? And she was like, oh yeah. But my thing is, girl, why didn't you tell me the side effects when you assigned me the medicine in the first place? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, dang, like, should you have told me about this medicine? But she didn't. So whatever. So finally, you know, all that was over with or whatever, and then she finally put me on birth control after me constantly pushing her like, hey, like, I don't feel good, like, you need to get this in order. So she finally put me on birth control and was like, you're gonna gain weight, but you have to work really, really hard to lose weight. And I'm just like, all right, girl, like, everything is not about weight. Like, I don't have PCOS because I'm fat. People have PCOS when they small, big, medium, little, it don't matter. Like, me being fat isn't the reason why I have PCOS in the first place, but whatever. So I just hate the fact that doctors think that that's the cure for everything, like losing weight. Like, no, that's how you miss all the signs, okay? Because I was sick for so long, and everybody kept telling me, oh, your period is irregular because you're overweight or you're big, and that just wasn't the case. I had PCOS. So that's what I'm saying. Know your body. Pursue everything. Pressure your doctor. Make sure you're getting the help that you need, because if not, they're going to continue pushing you off and not giving you the proper medical attention that you need. The hardest part about having PCOS is the long-term effects that could possibly happen. So like, it doesn't bother me now, but like sometimes it does bother me because I think about my future and I want to plan out my future, and I'm just like, it's gonna be hard for me to conceive, it's gonna be hard for me to have kids because of PCOS. So like, that's just kind of scary to me. Just like, you know, I might find a spouse who just like, it's a deal breaker, like, you can't conceive, I don't want to be married to you, which obviously means they don't love me, but like, I'm just saying, like, it's a fear of mine that when I become older, that somebody, like, I might, you know, be by myself because they're like, girl, you can't conceive. And I want kids, I want to influence the masses, I want to have that interaction. And just to think about it, it's just like really hard to think about. But I mean, like, if that's the case, obviously God willing, I feel like if I pray about it, whatever's for me is gonna happen. But if it don't happen, I'm more than willing to adopt. I mean, like, I was going to adopt anyway, even if I did have kids biologically. But yeah. And because she waited so long to help me with my PCOS, I later developed an iron deficiency. So because I was losing so much blood, my hemoglobin level went down to like a 4 or a 6, when it average should be a 13.5 to about a 15, which means that it was extremely low. Anybody with iron deficiency knows you have a craving for things that have no nutritional value towards you. So that could be ice, that could be dirt, tissue. I'm glad I don't have any of those cravings, but I know people who do. But I've only had the ice craving. I had it for a long time. I just didn't know what it was. And when I was going to my pediatrician, he put me on iron pills, but they made me really sick, so I stopped taking them. Like, if you take iron pills, you know, them things make you nauseous, have headaches, constipation, all of that. So I stopped taking the iron pills because they weren't helping me. They were just making me sick. So finally, I went to the doctor back in August, and I had blood work done, and then I went for my recheck up in December, which is obviously much later. So when I get there, he's like, hey, like, you need to come see me. Like, I don't understand why they didn't send you to the emergency room when they got your blood work done back, because your hemoglobin level is so low. Like, you should have been sent for an emergency transfusion. You could have passed out. And I was just like, that's so scary that I could have passed out because doctors and offices didn't take my health seriously. So when I got back, he automatically referred me to a hematologist. I called the hematologist and I told the hematologist what was going on, and he was like, well, girl, you need to come in today, because that's really, really low. So I went from one doctor to the next, and then from that day on, he put me on iron infusions. So basically they just stick an IV in you, and just put iron, like pump iron into you. Now I got a low vein, so everything be having to go on my hand, and I don't even know what to have about that. But yeah, so I started getting iron infusions or whatever. Now, when you get iron infusions, you could taste the iron in your mouth while you're getting it done. It's so weird. Like, it's so annoying. I was going twice a week, so I was getting constantly stuck by a needle every 2 weeks. It's so ridiculous. But I understood that I have to do it for my health. So yeah, so I got put on the iron infusions. I was doing that for a while, and I loved that doctor's office. They were so nice to me, especially when you go in there more than once a week. They know you by name. They know how to make you comfortable. Like, my nurse I love my nurse. He was always so nice to me. He always was just like, hey girl, like, how you doing? He knew exactly where I wanted him to go, never questioned me. Now if he was absent, I would have to argue with nurses because they would try to stick me in my arm, and I don't have, my veins are really light, so they be having to go in my hand with a butterfly needle. And I kept telling her like, oh, go in my hand because you're not gonna find nothing here. And one thing I hate is when people that draw blood, they be like, oh, it's a challenge for me, and it's just like, no. Like, I hate that so much, that they be like, oh, it's a challenge for me to be able to find that thing. Just like, no, you're hurting me. Like, just go where I told you to go. So that's like really annoying, but that's beside the point. So yeah, so basically, like, because I was getting stuck so much, like, y'all could still kind of see the, like these are all like the marks that I got from getting the iron infusions when I was back home. So fast forward, I leave home, I come back to Kentucky, and I go to school. And anybody who knows that, like, when you're low income and you have like low income insurance, your insurance does not cover your out of state things. So my insurance is in New Jersey, so nothing pretty much is covered when I come to Kentucky. So I had to figure out a way in order to get my transfusions down here so that I can remain healthy, because if my iron level isn't maintained, then I become sick, I get headaches, which has already started to happen, which is another story. But yeah, so currently, God bless, I'm so happy, like, God really blessed me, because I just got a call today from a nurse saying that I got authorized for my infusions down here. So that's really helpful, because I was beginning to feel sick and tired. Yeah, so like the long side effects of these transfusions could be a lot of things. So I get like headaches, I get really weak when I get them, and I just don't want to do any work, which could be really hard when you're in college, because you can't just like not turn in an assignment. Like, I know a lot of the times where I had assignment or I had to work, like, I would tell my doctor, or I would tell my teacher, or I would tell my supervisor, like, hey, like, I can't come into work today, like, I could barely move, or like, I'm in pain, like, my arm hurt, my hand hurt, like, I just don't feel good. And they would be like, oh, well, you need documentation. And like, the effects could happen the day after you went to go get an infusion. So I could have got an infusion on Monday, and I wouldn't feel the effects of the infusion until Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, or Tuesday morning, or whatever. So I wouldn't have been able to go to work, and they didn't understand that. Like, I would have a doctor's note, but the doctor's note would be for the day before, and it just like would not suffice enough for me to get the time that I needed to get myself together, because like sometimes I can't move, I can't type things, I just get really sick. And then on top of that, I have anxiety. I have an anxiety disorder, so I get real jittery, my hands start shaking, I have tremors. So just like a whole bunch of things that comes into play, and it's just like, you really don't need to play about your health, because everything is grouped or adjacent to one another. Like, I didn't start having iron infusions until my PCOS became a thing, and before I didn't have that treated. So now I have iron deficiency, which triggers my anxiety, which makes me shake, and stuff like that. So definitely mental health and health is important for Black women, and Black women should always take priority over those things. And I never let this stuff get me down, because just like, it's all right, it's just something that I have to, deal with, and be better about myself. And a lot of the times I do play with my health, and I really need to stop doing that, because it's just like, girl, keep going, you'll be okay. But she said, you're going to the doctor, just like, no, you're not going to be okay. You need to take care of your health, and you need to do better. Like, even when I get sick down here, I refuse to go to the doctor, because I don't want to get a bill for it. Just like, well, either you go get a bill for it now, or you end up somewhere dead. And just like, we don't want that. So make sure you're taking care of your health. And I hope this video has helped someone who's dealing with the same things. I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you have about PCOS, iron deficiency, anxiety disorder, that whole kind of thing. It's just like really been a hard journey. It's like, I'm not even done yet, but I just felt like I should share a piece of that with you. Like, everything is not all sunshine and rainbows. I'm not always happy all the time. Like, what you see on camera is not my life. So I really wanted to be transparent with all 27 of you, all my 27 subscribers. I really appreciate it, loves. So I just hope this video gave you a piece of me and made you see that I was transparent, because I'm more than willing to talk about my failures, my flaws, things that I deal with, and how I get through them, because that is how you begin to like form a relationship with people. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Comment down below if you're struggling with PCOS, have any questions about these things, or if you just have any questions in general about any of the things that I talked about in this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more videos where I upload weekly. I try to stay consistent. As always, love, everything is everything. Peace, blessings, and prosperity. See you all in the next video.